What is up, guys? It is the sports nerd Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Sunshine State Sports Jabber, part of NGSC Sports. Welcome in, guys. Happy Friday to you. Hopefully, everyone has had a great week, as now we have arrived at the weekend. So, hopefully, everyone out there is staying safe and having a good week. Hopefully, if you're having a rough week, you're popping here to hear me talk about sports for an hour. I appreciate it. The Sunshine State Sports Jabber, guys, is part of NGSC Sports. Remember the website, guys. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. Guys, I have an article that goes up once a week. Usually Sundays is the time it goes up. So please take a look over there and read my articles. It would be outstanding. My show is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website, arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? Guys, welcome in again. Like I said, this is the sports nerd Bradley Walker. Welcome to the Sunshine State Sports Jabber. If this is your first time in here, this is my Friday All Florida Sports podcast, which means I strictly talk about just Florida sports in here. I talk NBA, MLS, USL, MLB, NHL, college football, and the NFL as well. If I forgot anything, I do talk about all that, and I do talk about sporting events that happen, like UFC events, any kind of races that go on here, stuff like that. I will refer to back as well. Let me go ahead, guys, and I will go ahead and get started here. I'm going to start, guys, with the National Basketball Association. And I'm going to start with the boys in Miami, the Miami Heat. The Heat made some big trades during the trade deadline to make the team better. Obviously, just 2 short years ago, this team was in the NBA Finals in the bubble when they lost to the Lakers in 6 games. So now here they re-signed Jimmy Butler, and now here is a couple the final 5 roster spots so far as the roster spots all get made up. Number 1 obviously would be Udonis Haslem. Haslem has been with the Heat for a long time, and I think a lot of Miami Heat fans out there know about him, and they love having him here. So look for Udonis Haslem obviously to be there as well. Maybe an Omar Yurtseven could be the one of the guys that gets the final spot. Jameis Ennis. And then the two-way spots for the Heat would be Marcus Garnett, and then it would be Drew Smith would be the final couple as well. And by the way, they signed Kyle Lowry. The former Raptor is now in Miami. So he has come from winning a NBA championship a mere 2 years ago when they beat when they defeated the Golden State Warriors. He won an NBA title with the Raptors. Guys, sorry if my voice is off. My allergies have been bothering me all week long, so I do apologize if I have any allergies or anything like that. The articles are awesome. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. That's my co-host, Larry Frank. If you guys did not hear the update, our podcast, Bullseye, will be back on August 24th. That is a all USF athletics podcast. We will be having Markwell Blackwell, I believe, will be on the show coming back on the 24th. And we are in talks to interview one Jeff Scott, head coach of the USF football team. Guys, I'm looking forward to getting credentials again for USF football. Normally, guys, it would be with iRock Media. The website, though, has been down since the end of June. So I have requested to get credentials through this wonderful network in NGSC. My man Ralph is working behind the scenes to try to get me in. If I do get credentials, guys, it will be the 4th season in a row that I've been able to get credentials It would be great because the first game is September 11th. We are just about a month away from the season kicking off, and it's against the Florida Gators. And that game, I'll have my two favorite college football teams on one field. But I'll talk about that when I get to my college talk. Here are some trades, some last minute trades that definitely could improve the Miami Heat. Obviously, going after trading DJ Augustine and Daniel House to the Rockets for Casey Apopka and a 2028 second round pick is one of the trades that could be made by the Heat. They could trade Dorian Finley-Smith and Trey Burke to the Mavericks. They would get Kepe Apoko, a 2027 first-round pick, a 2022 second-round pick via Philadelphia or Denver, or a 2028 and a 2028 second-round pick would be there as well. And trade number 3 would have them getting Colin Sexton in return. The Cavaliers would get Tyler Hero, KZ Apopka, a 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 first-round pick swap, and 2028 second-round pick. So those are some of the trades that the Miami Heat could make to bolster their roster that's already good with Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, and company. Again, this team struggled last year and did not look like the team that they were when they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals a mere couple of years ago. I mean, in 2020, when they got to the bubble last year. So, or 2 years, last year in 2020 is when they were on that. But they were, according to CBSSports.com, they were one of the winners of the NBA trade deadline. And here is this right here. I'm going to read this strictly off of there. Oh, you didn't think Pat Riley was going to sit on his hands this offseason, did you? The Miami Heat pulled off a major coup of first-day free agency, landing veteran point guard Kyle Lowry, defensive forward extraordinaire P.J. Tucker, while re-signing sharpshooter Duncan Robinson. With those joining all-stars Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, the Heat now have only one more opposing starting lineup, with the promising young guard of Tyler Hero coming off the bench. After a very weird season, it appears the Heat are right back in title contention with a thinned-out supporting cast. Miami also managed to pull out of it without going into the luxury tax, according to ESPN Bobby Marks, which is a true credit to general manager Andy Ellsberg and the front office. So they were considered one of the winners of the NBA trade. So congratulations, the Miami Heat now have put themselves right back in the driver's seat in the Eastern Conference to be right back in it again. Maybe next year they could be there in the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe vying for a shot at the NBA championship. So we'll have to wait and see how they do. But they have done a very good job in not sitting back. They have done a very good job with doing what they do. So, again, the Miami Heat are back in the thick of it right off the bat. The next team, guys, obviously would be the team in Orlando. Now, the Magic, again, guys, are in a complete rebuild. That definitely is that. They definitely are in a rebuild. It will be something different with them. But, again, this team is really, really in a rebuild. But they have done they've obviously made some roster moves. They had 2 picks. They had picks in the they had 2 picks within the first 10 picks of the draft. So now here is Orlando Magic roster near completion, still has 1 hole. Now this brings up the Magic roster up to 15 players, with Dwayne Bacon's contract status still up in the air. They did sign Robin Lopez. That is one of the guys that they signed. So here right now is the starting lineup for the Orlando Magic. At point guard, you have Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Michael Carter-Williams. At shooting guard, you have Jalen Suggs, Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton. At shooting forward, you have Chuma Okele, Terrence Ross, Dwayne Bacon. At power forward, you have Jonathan Isaac, France Wagner, Moritz Wagner. At center, you have Wendell Carter, Mohem Bama, and Robin Lopez. So those are the 15 so far that the Magic have. Like I said, they did sign Robin Lopez. The brother just came off an NBA title with the Milwaukee Bucks, playing with his twin brother there as they went on to win that. The Magic playoff lessons, the Atlanta Hawks bet right is all going all in. Last season, the Atlanta Hawks were at somewhere at the crossroads. They did with Trae Young, who signed a big exclusive deal to stay in Atlanta. But the decisions were also the same way. It looks like the Orlando Magic are doing the same thing. They're risking pushing it in. As fans for the Magic follow the path of pushing it, really about pushing it at the right time. Recent Magic history shows how difficult it is to get it right. Of course, they had Scott Skiles. Victor Arbu has shown some flashes of stardom with their reliable double-double machine, and Tobias Harris, his rival scorer. Two of these three players later become NBA All-Stars. Harris has knocked on the door with two separate teams since. The Magic had talent to be successful, while a disciplinary coach flamed out, struggling to connect with young players. So again, this is something that the Magic, obviously, guys, are going to have to work on. The rebuild, again, like I said, is here for the Magic. This is a team that obviously was one of the worst teams in the NBA a year ago. They made it to the postseason in 2020, losing in the first round to the Milwaukee Bucks in 5 games. But this was a team that is now going through a whole big rebuild. So again, it'll be a while before we can, get back to maybe the promising years of when you had Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway, and all those boys here. Now it'll have to go back. It'll be a while before we can go back and have Magic glory, as they call it, back in the fold. So, like I said, guys, I will talk NBA when there is free agency. Obviously, if there's any big moves between Orlando and Miami, I will be talking about them. And I believe the season is a couple months away, I think, from restarting back up. So again, as the season rolls closer, we'll talk more about basketball on here. We'll go over games and stuff like that. But for right now, that is all of my NBA news between the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. So let me go on here, guys, and now we'll talk some USL soccer. And the Tampa Bay Rowdies are actually playing soccer right now. I did notice that before I came on the air that they are playing as we speak. So let me see how it is going. They're playing the New York Red Bulls 2, and they currently are up 2-1. They are currently up 2-1, or is the match over? It says full time. I don't know if the match is over yet or not. Right now, they lead 2-1, guys, against the New York Red Bulls 2. So right now, the Rowdies do lead. They have actually fallen out of first place in the Eastern Conference. They are now behind the Pittsburgh Riverhounds by 3 points. Their record, I think, before tonight is 15 matches. They are 9-0-6, 21 goals scored, 14 allowed. They have a +7 and 27 points. But I believe they trail. They play Pittsburgh again on Wednesday, August 18th. So I think next Wednesday or the Wednesday after, they'll be playing there. I'm still trying, guys, to be able to go see a Rowdies game. I just got to have someone go with me. I don't want to really go to a soccer game by myself. So anyone out there listening that's in the area and wants to go to a Rowdies game, let me know. I will get tickets, and we can go see a Rowdies game before the regular season ends. They did lose 2-0 to Charlotte Independence back on July 31st. That was if I did. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're back. But anyway, they've hit a little bit of a rough patch, but they've been able to come out of it. So they are, again, they're only 3 points behind the Riverhounds at the present moment. So it's not done yet. There's still some season left for the Rowdies. So again, I wouldn't push the panic button quite yet there in Rowdies land. Again, guys, I'm trying to get to a game. If anybody wants to go, you can message me. I would love to be able to go see a game this year before the season ends out. The next team I'll cover, guys, is in MLS, and that is Inter Miami. This is currently the worst team in MLS. They are dead last in the division, but their owner, Phil Neville, is feeling a sense of urgency, but there are no excuses right now. This team basically has fallen into shambles. I mean, that's basically how you can say it. It's interesting how they continue. Again, you have Beckham is a part owner of this team. Now they did sign Ventura Alfredo, a former United States men's national team defender. He has signed with Inter Miami. Again, they're trying. They did end up tying their rival Orlando City, who I also cover on this show, though. That was a 1-1 tie. They were able to get a tie, but they have not done very well either recently either with that. So they have to bounce back and try to get the ship straightened back out. I'm not saying that they're going to do it this year, but they're going to have to make some moves. Something's going to have to be done because they just are not, they're just not a very good soccer team at the immediate moment. They're going to have to make some changes, maybe coaches, front office, players in general for next year, because I don't think this team's going to make the postseason. So again, it's a shame to say that, but again, they're just going to have to try to get out of the cellar next year and bounce back. Hopefully Beckham and company can get the team back. Now, this team, the Orlando City Lions, are on the opposite end of the spectrum. They are towards the top of the division, only trailing the New England Revolution in the division. They are, again, there was a 1-1 tie. Their rival is Inter Miami. So you have the Orlando-Miami rivalry very well. They want to, of course, they want to be future champions. It would be nice to win an MLS title for Orlando. That would be huge for the Lions in general if they could somehow be able to win an MLS title would be excellent for that. There has been they made an offer to the teenage Argentinian midfielder to come to Orlando to play for them. This is something that this team has been some of the pride. Actually, it's funny that I mentioned pride and you mentioned Lions in the same sentence with the Lion King, but it's interesting how this team has done a very, very good job. Let me pull up the MLS standings real quick and tell you where the Orlando City. Okay, they are second place, guys. They played 17 matches, 8 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses, 27 goals scored, 22 allowed, plus 5 differential. They trail the Revolution by 8 points, but they are in the playoff picture for the Eastern Conference. So they are number 2 in that category. They lead Philadelphia and Nashville by 1 point, New York City by 2 points, DC United and Columbus by 5 points. So again, they're keeping track. Right now, it would be New England, Orlando City, Philadelphia, Nashville, New York City, DC United, and Columbus would be out of the Eastern Conference, and the West would be Sporting KC, Seattle, LA Galaxy, Colorado, LASC, Minnesota, Real Salt Lake would be the team in the West if the playoffs started today, but they again have not started quite yet. But again, it is very, very interesting how this team has been, pretty good all season long. So Orlando City is on the path to greatness. The female team that plays in Orlando is the Orlando Pride. They're going to get back Alex Morgan as Team USA Soccer won a bronze medal. I think there's a lot of us USWNT fans that we're kind of disappointed that they didn't win gold. I think that was kind of the goal, and they were unfortunately unable to win a gold medal. They did win bronze. Canada won the gold. Sweden won the silver medal in the Olympics this year. Orlando Pride does feel refreshed under a new head coach. They got a new head coach, so they've been good since they've changed head coaches. Again, the ownership, new ownership that owns the Pride and Orlando City is embracing both teams, helping out both teams, in that case. So that is, the team is facing an adjustment period. Obviously, with a new head coach, you're going to have some adjustments you're going to have to go through. So again, this team is going through an adjustment period. Let me see, guys, where the Pride currently stand in the let's look at the standings for the Orlando Pride. Right now, guys, they are seventh they're seventh overall in the league. They trail the Houston Dash, they're tied with the Houston Dash at 17 points. Now they have played 13 matches. They are 4-5-4. They've scored 15 goals, allowed 16, so they're -1 in the goal differential, and they have 17 points. The Houston Dash have played 12 matches. They're 5-2-5, 14 goals scored, 13 allowed. They're a +1. They had 17 points. They're only 1 point away from North Carolina and Washington, so the team is not in that bad a shape. They're almost they're in the outside looking in right now, but again, they're only 1 point. They're tied for 6th place. They're 1 point away from 5th and 4th. So again, this team is not done completely yet. Maybe with a new head coach, they can do this. Now, the last 5 matches, guys, they have 2 draws and 3 losses. So they haven't won a match in a while. Their next match, guys, coming up will be on this Sunday, the 8th at 6 p.m. They're playing the Chicago Red Stars. Now, the Red Stars, I believe, are in front of them. Actually, Chicago is tied for 2nd. They're in 3rd currently. So this could be a big win. If they can win, they can move up, get 1 point, and move up ahead of Houston. So that would be good if the Pride can somehow pull off a win on Sunday. And the Chicago, they have a -3 goal differential. But they are 4-1 in their last 5 matches with 4 wins and a loss. So that's pretty strong with what Chicago has been doing. So again, just like with the Lions, this team has not been that bad, and they're again vying for a playoff spot. Obviously, winning a championship obviously is the ultimate goal, when it comes to soccer. And again, this is something that Orlando is trying to do. They're trying to, win a championship like Orlando City is as well. So we'll have to wait and see how it all shapes out. But guys, that is my soccer news for the time being. That is, my news there for soccer. I will keep you up to date, guys, on all things, those 4 teams in there. The next, I will go to the Diamond. I'll start in South Florida with the Miami Marlins. The Marlins were very, very quiet at the deadline. They traded away some pieces. They did get Austin Pruitt, a pitcher. Their first-round pick in Khalil Watson, they're nearing a deal to make him, sign their first overall pick. And the Marlins, let me give you their schedule, because the 2022 MLB schedule did come out. We are all crossing our fingers and hoping that there is no strike with the MLB. current CBA is over on December, I forget what day it is, but the Marlins are currently here. Here's their 2022 schedule. They will begin at home with a 4-game series against the Braves, and then they welcome the Rangers in before heading on the road to face the Giants and the Angels. But let me bring – hey, Lewis, good evening.
Evening, Bradley. Now, as assuming, of course, everything goes on schedule, because as most baseball fans know, that with all of the what's going on with in the offseason, if they get locked out or strike, that could be a problem. Remember, the CBA is not the collective bargaining agreement; it's the collective bitching agreement. So
I like that.
Because that's exactly what you're going to do. Because before you get to resolve everything, you're going to bitch and moan about all overall anyway, and that's going to take weeks, maybe even months.
Correct.
Via 1994. Thank you very much.
Yeah, again, it will all depend on if they can agree on a new CBA before the old one expires. So I don't think that's going to happen with
lots of luck with that one.
With COVID. Yeah, with the COVID argument amongst the players. Again, as we talked about last night.
Open the books. No.
They did agree on a season and a salary. So I guess, hopefully if they do go on strike, it won't be for very, very long.
Yeah.
And it won't cancel the season. Other team.
Keep in mind, too, that in 1982, the strike lasted 81 rather. The strike lasted 57 days, and it screwed up everybody's summer.
Yeah, and that could be very likely what it might go. Either that might go 57 days. It might go longer.
Might go 57 years. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. You're right. It could be years before they come to an agreement. The other team, guys, obviously, is the Rays. Now their pitcher Tyler Glasnow did have Tommy John surgery. So again, that is a huge blow to their pitching staff, because now he will not pitch probably until 2023. I don't think he'll pitch at all next season, recovering from Tommy John surgery. I guess there was a huge deal with the Chicago Cubs that would send him there, and in return, the Cubs would have sent Chris Bryant and Craig Kimbrell to the Rays. I guess if he hadn't gotten hurt, that was a deal that was being discussed. I didn't know that. I looked that up. I'm like, wow, that's a huge deal. Again, I don't know if, though, would you give up a blue chip pitcher for 2 rental players? Because you're not bringing either one of them back. So I'm glad the Rays did not make that move, because, again, do you give up your future for your now? I don't think so. I think they did the right move by sticking with who they have and sticking with Glasnow, even though he's not going to pitch next year because of his having to have Tommy John surgery. So I think he had successful surgery. Yeah, he had successful surgery on Wednesday. So just 2 days ago, he had the surgery. So again, now he's in recovery mode now to get ready for the 2023 season. But again, the Rays are in first place by a game and a half over the Red Sox. So they're currently losing to the Orioles, I believe, 5-2 in Baltimore. The Rays are on the road in Baltimore playing the Orioles tonight. But the Red Sox are also losing to Toronto, so that's good news for Rays fans, because they're not going to lose any ground if the Red Sox lose and they lose too. But if they win and the Red Sox lose, they'll gain a game on them moving forward. But as of right now, I believe it was 5-2 the last time I checked. Mm-hmm. The Blue Jays are up 9-4 over the Red Sox in the top of the 6th inning. And the Rays and Orioles, I'm sorry, guys, are actually tied at 5 in the top of the 6th inning. So the Rays tied it up. So now if the Rays can pull off a win, they would go up to 2.5 over Boston, who is on believe they just ended their 5-game losing streak just yesterday or the day before. I know it's been rough for them in the past couple of weeks, but that's good for Rays fans, because again, they can extend their lead in the division. And then of course you have Toronto and the Yankees also nipping at trying to get at least a wild card spot.
Yeah, they're coming on strong.
Yeah, they said they figured it was going to be a 4-team race down the stretch. We'll see who's left at the end of the rainbow, as they say. If whatever happens, we'll see which team. I predicted early on in the season, I thought it was going to be Tampa Bay and New York. It still may end up that way. But again,
it tells you when your egg
Hang on a
is
second,
ready.
Brad.
Look how adorable. See? You know what it's
Okay,
singing?
I'll just drop that. Okay, I'm still here. I'm still here.
The interesting part of this is Toronto. Obviously, that's the team that really no one is really looking at, and they could easily sneak up and take a wild card spot. So that's the team I think the entire AL East has to watch, is definitely the Toronto Blue Jays at the immediate moment. Well, guys, that is my baseball news. Again, as the season moves into August and September, these are the dog days of the summer. The season will be over in the beginning of October. Of course, if your team makes the postseason, obviously it will go past that, but the regular season is on the verge of closing itself out. So we are almost there. And again, let's pray and cross our fingers for all the baseball fans out there that if we go on a strike, or if they do go on a strike, it does not for very long, and they can come to some kind of agreement and have a decent season next year. Yeah. The next, I'll go to hockey now. And again, the season is over. There was a trade deadline recently in the National Hockey League. The Florida Panthers are a team that I believe, very likely could be in the thick of it next year in the division. There's a team that, other than maybe at the goaltending position, might be the only thing that might be holding them back. They picked up Sam Reinhart from the Buffalo Sabres, which is a good thing for them. They have a good, solid team coming back from last year. So don't be surprised if Florida isn't in the thick of it with, Boston and the Lightning and of the search next year. I would not be shocked. This team, I think, scared a lot of people last year. I know they got to the playoffs and lost to the Lightning. But again, it would be not surprising if they're right back in it again next season, because, again, the team isn't going away. I did see something today that the NHL salary cap went up. I don't know how, but it did. I don't know. It went up. I read an article today that it was going up. So I thought it was going to stay. I thought it was going to stay stagnant. It will definitely help all the teams out there that are close to the cap hit. Obviously, the Lightning were one of those teams last year that obviously used a loophole in the rule to keep Nikita Kucherov off the ice all season, not have to have his contract affect the cap, and then have him come back in the playoffs, which they went on to win their second straight Stanley Cup. But again, every NHL team can use the rule. I would think that the next CBA and the National Hockey League will probably close that rule so that no other team can use the rule unless they keep it, and maybe they bend it a little bit to make it look like it is. But again, guys, like I said, the Florida Panthers are a good hockey team. Hopefully, they can start getting people in that arena in Sunrise. I've been there a handful of times. It's a very, very nice arena down there, but they only fill it when they're winning. They don't fill it when they're not winning. So they have
to go see a loser.
Yeah, and it's really a shame because again, they always say that Florida really isn't a hockey state. Well, the Lightning have changed that, but again, it would be nice to see Florida play Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and make a rivalry that we should have here in the state of Florida, which we don't. Like Lewis, he's a Rangers fan. He's got the Islanders and the Devils, and stuff like that. You have that rivalry because you guys play each other. The Panthers play us, but it'd be kind of cool to see them play against each other in the playoffs as well.
Right.
Make it even more of a rivalry,
Well, the Panthers haven't really been that good, though.
No, they haven't. They haven't been good for a while, and now they're starting to become good again. If you do not know, guys, the Panthers have made it to one Stanley Cup final. and they were swept by the Colorado Avalanche.
Whoop ass.
What was it? 1990.
96.
96 is when they were swept.
96. The game went triple overtime, and it was
they lost.
The game was pretty much boring as hell, pretty much. Although there were a few dynamite saves that were made, and Yui Krupp hit the game-winning goal for 5.5 minutes in the third overtime.
Okay.
Yeah, at about 1:15 a.m. in the morning. Oh, boy. I couldn't stay awake though to see it.
So again,
if I was in Morristown, yes.
Yeah, the Avalanche did win that Stanley Cup. So they, so the Panthers are on the rise, guys. Just put that word down. I think that team will be good. They were good last year. I think they'll be good again this year. They'll be right back in the thick of it again this year. Now, the team that is coming off back-to-back Stanley Cups, of course, they've traded away. Tyler Johnson's gone. So they've made some moves, obviously, to get under the cap. The last remaining free agent is Ross Colton. They got to get him under a contract. I don't think they've signed him yet. He may go to arbitration. That's that A word that we don't like to say amongst the sports teams. He might be going to arbitration. Yes. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Now they picked up Brian Elliott as a backup goaltender to back up Andrei Vasilevsky. They made a couple of line 4 moves. They brought in Corey Perry, the guy they played against in the finals last year, on a 2-year contract. So he'll be here next year. Obviously, our fourth line will be a grit line. You're going to have Patrick Maroon, Corey Perry. You're going to have a tough bruiser line there at the bottom. And line 3, Yanni Gourde, Barclay Goodrow, and Coleman are all gone. All 3 of them have left. Yanni Gourde went to Seattle in the expansion draft. I believe Goodrow signed a 6-year deal with the Rangers, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it Coleman that signed a 6-year deal? I don't remember which one signed a 6-year deal with the Rangers.
I think it was Coleman.
So he's there. He's in New York. But that's it, the Lightning rule. And then again, guys, we talked about this last week. Sonia Bryson Kersey is the national anthem singer for the Lightning. She has moved out of ICU. She's on a breathing machine out of ICU, so she's doing a lot better. All the prayer warriors out there, thank you, because she has moved out of ICU. We talked about it last week with buying a shirt to help her with her medical bills. Again, guys, if you do not know, she got the Delta variant of COVID, and she has health issues. She has multiple sclerosis. So they were very scared. Obviously, if you have underlying health conditions, just be very, very wary with any kind of COVID virus. Just be careful, because it's not good for anyone that has underlying medical condition.
And
that's, so again, guys, if you can get vaccinated and you want to get vaccinated, go out. Lewis got his first shot. He's got to get his second shot soon. I am fully vaccinated. Adam is as well. I believe everyone at my job, other than one person, is going to get their second shot soon, and that's it. I think we're all vaccinated at work. So, But guys, in my state, in Florida, we're probably going to have to go back to wearing masks soon. COVID cases are really going up in record numbers. I think we had 9,000 new cases the other day. So that's not good. Again, it's a lot of it is unvaccinated people, not vaccinated people, that are causing the numbers to go up. So, and there are different reasons. People don't like what's in the shot. People are allergic to what's in the shot. They have their political beliefs keep them away. So that's, again.
Well, that's that you should forget about.
No, I agree with you on that. I as we talked about last night, I think if you're letting your political beliefs get in the way of helping other people and yourself, that's pretty selfish on your part, on that. So, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But
I still don't get, though, the comments from Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, he thinks that, well, I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm young, it won't concern. You might want to rethink that, because supposing you do get it, then what are you going to say?
Well, Lewis, you make a good point there, because that's what a lot of people think. Oh, I'm not going to get a shot. I don't need to get a shot, because if I get it, I get it. Well, guess what's going to happen to you if you get it? there's a good chance, like Adam said last night, if you don't get vaccinated, you have a higher percentage chances of dying from that than dying from getting vaccinated. So it is what it is, guys. You can believe what you want to believe. There are plenty of articles out there that have read that there was, a lot of new science used to create the vaccine that is now out for COVID. A lot of people say, oh, well, why would you take a shot that, has only been out for 7 months or only been out for this long? Well, I got mine. I feel much safer. Now, again, I may have to start wearing a mask again. And if I have to because of people, that don't want to get vaccinated, okay, fine. It is what it is. I'll accept that and move on with it until we can get back to not having to wear one. But it is what it is. So, but that is that, guys. Like I said, she is out of ICU, which is good. Sonia Bryson is at ICU. So hopefully we'll see her on opening night as the Lightning will open up and raise their third Stanley Cup banner to the rafters as they play the Pittsburgh Penguins to start their season next year in October, a couple months away from that. We'll go ahead, guys, and shift to the National Football League. I'll start with the boys in Duval County, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Urban Meyer is very, very happy with Tim Tebow's progress. Again, that's the big question, I think, in Jacksonville, obviously, is will Tebow make the team? A lot of people thought, oh, he signed a contract, he's good. Just because you signed a contract doesn't guarantee you a roster spot.
No, it doesn't.
He'll have to, see what happens. Now, of course, having a rookie quarterback may help you too. With Trevor Lawrence as also having a great camp so far, according to what I've read. A lot of writers have said how well he has been doing. A lot of the insiders in Jacksonville camp have said how well he is doing so far. Again, guys, as I've said before, I think I see this team winning 5 to 6 games this season. They will win a lot more than one game than they did last year. This team is going to be a little bit better. Now, another good weapon that the Jaguars have is former Clemson running back Travis Etienne, which obviously knows Trevor Lawrence very, very well. They were teammates for a lot of years, and so that's helping out, obviously, too, when you have a rookie quarterback and running back that can definitely bolster your offense from a year ago. So, again, the Jaguars are improving there. The defensive side of the ball is where I have the question marks for Jacksonville. We'll have to wait and see what Urban Meyer and company do to get this team ready to go. Like I said, I could see this team winning at least 5 games this season. And now with the injury to what's his name, quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Why is his name escape me? Dang it. Jesus, I can't think of the guy. The division, I think, now is in the hands of the Tennessee Titans, obviously, with Travis Henry and company there. I think it's their division. I think Jacksonville will be towards the bottom. Maybe not the bottom because the Houston Texans are a dumpster fire. So Jacksonville has a shot to be in third place in the division. I can't imagine them being in second. I could see still with the injuries that Indianapolis has, I could still see them being right there on the thick of nipping at Tennessee's heels. But we'll have to wait and see how long their quarterbacks are. So I see the Jaguars being in third place by the end of the season in the AFC South. We'll have to see if I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, they're going to be right there. Again, just like with everything else, guys, with a rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback, and some rookies on the offensive side of the ball and defensive, Jaguar fans are going to have to use one word: just be patient, because it's going to be a while before this team, is good. And if everything stays pat, this team could be very, very good in the future, as they were in the AFC title game a few years ago. So they could be right back there again. They just, again, have to get the right pieces in place. And so far, that seems to be moving in the right direction with Urban Meyer and company there. The next team, guys, is the Miami Dolphins. Here's a team, again, as I mentioned a bunch of times, finished 10-6 last year, missed the playoffs by one game, losing to their division rival in Week 17, losing to the Buffalo Bills. So far, Tua has had a good camp. Xavier Howard, once they're again off, it's all going to depend, on how Tua does this year. It's his sophomore season. Can he stay healthy? That's going to be the big question. And this team, again, with the division that they're in, the Buffalo Bills. If you guys are not here today, Josh Allen signed a new 6-year extension, so he is staying in Buffalo. I think that it's their division to basically lose. Miami's got a good shot at knocking them out. New England's still a question mark, and the Jets are still in a rebuild. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But I could see Miami and New England battling it for second place. I really think, honestly, the division is going to be won again by Buffalo, unless injuries occur. Of course, I don't know. We don't know, exactly what's going to happen. But Brian Flores seems to have, again, he got rid of a lot of the bad apples in his first year. Last year, he turned the team around. I can't see this team going backwards. So I could see them being there in the thick of it again behind the Buffalo Bills, and New England nipping at their heels, depending on how the Patriots do with, of course, Cam Newton at quarterback, and how long will it be before we see Mac Jones as a quarterback in New England. We'll have to wait and see. I would say this right now, that if he struggles within the first few weeks, I would say by the time that Tom Brady and the team that I'm talking about next, the Buccaneers, visit New England, I could see Mac Jones being the starting quarterback against Brady. Again, that's just me, how I say that. Maybe Cam won't struggle, and I won't have to worry about that, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But again, Miami's as a solid football team. They'll be right there. And I know we're getting very, very close. I know the preseason started last night with the Hall of Fame game. Steelers beat the Cowboys. So the preseason is underway, guys. So we'll be talking. They only have 3 games this season. They shifted from the 3 game from 4 to 3, added an extra regular season game to this season. So there'll be 17 games that they play in total there. The last team I talk about as far as the National Football League goes is the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes. And from what I've been reading earlier this week, Tom Brady and also Bruce Arians have not been too happy with camp. There's been some frustration hearing Tom Brady throw his helmet. So there has been some frustration in camp. Obviously, that happens early on. You get frustrated. Hopefully they can get everything worked out before the season starts up. We'll have to wait and see. They did re-sign their defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles, to a 3-year contract. He's the highest paid DC in the National Football League. Now his contract will surpass Bruce Arians. So many people believe if Bruce does retire or steps down, this will be the guy that takes over the head coaching job in Todd Bowles. Now, Lewis can tell me a little bit more about him. He was head coach in New York with the Jets. I think he learned a lot from that opportunity that he had with the Jets. I know he had a winning season, a couple losing seasons, and one winning season there with the Jets. Again, we'll have to wait and see who the quarterback is, because if the Bucs win another Super Bowl, many people believe that Tom Brady will retire. I don't know if that's true, but there's a chance that could happen.
Well, not for nothing, but he is 45 years old, and he did say that he wanted,
Yeah, I mean, again,
we'll have 45.
Right, correct.
He's almost there.
He's not a spring chicken or anything like that. So, if Todd Bowles does take over the team, again, the biggest question will be who's the quarterback going to be at that time. But if they do win another one, if the Bucs do win next year or the year after, say Brady stays, they might have an outside shot. If then again, Bruce Arians has to step down or retire before Todd Bowles can definitely become the new head coach. There has been an emergence of Sean Murphy-Bunting. He was a draft pick a few years ago by the Buccaneers. He's at the cornerback position. So he's been emerging in camp as well. So that's been another of those players that has stood out in camp so far. They've had some frustrating practices. I think they were local broadcast 620 WDAE. They were supposed to be at camp on Thursday morning, but because of the inclement weather with the rain, they were not able to go to camp. So that is that. There's my nose running. My allergies are bothering me. Let me go ahead, guys. As I always do, I'll end my show with the college rankings. I'll start with Miami. And if you guys do not know, they begin their season against the defending national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. So that's going to be a tough game for Miami right off the bat there. Now, again, with the shift with Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC in 2025, could the Miami Hurricanes leave the ACC for another division? I don't know. I think they stay where they're at. I think there was talks, as we talked about last night on the Walker Report, of the Pac-12 and Big 12 merging. It would be interesting to see if that did happen, what would happen to the SEC, ACC, and Big 10 at that point. I don't know what will exactly happen, at that time. I guess Miami legend Edgerrin James set to become the first Hurricane running back in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I guess there's been no Miami Hurricane running backs to ever be a Hall of Famer in the National Football League. So James would be the first one if inducted. He, again, did play for the Miami Hurricanes. So, again, we are not too far away, guys, from the college football season starting up. A mere few weeks away for the season to start.
Thank goodness.
So that's good. Welcome back to football season. Strap in. It's going to be a fun fall. And
do we have that week 0 again this year?
I think so, Lewis. I'm not 100. Week 0 might be Miami and Alabama. I don't really know how they.
Of course, I know why you call it week 0 to begin with.
Right. It's weird. It's very, very weird how they start that off. But Miami again is poised to try to win the ACC. They're going to have to beat Clemson. Obviously, that's the team to beat in the ACC this year. Now, the other team in the ACC is this team right here, and that's the Florida State Seminoles. Now, the Seminoles, according to a rumor earlier this week I heard on the radio, that they have been talking about moving to the SEC. But, let's stop that right now. Their president came out earlier this week and said, absolutely not. We have not been in talks with the SEC. This team is not moving to the SEC. We're staying in the ACC. So, again, as we always do with sports media, we like to draw rumors, and that's what has been going on in Tallahassee. There was a time ago, guys, if you did not know this, that the SEC wanted the Noles to join the conference, and they turned it down to join the ACC. Now, guys, if you do not know, one of their in-state rivals, the Florida Gators, call the SEC and have been an SEC team for many, many years. So it would be interesting to have the Noles, if they did decide to move to the SEC, that would be interesting because you'd have your state rivals right in the same conference as you are now. But I don't see that happening. I see FSU and or Clemson staying in the ACC, or say anyone else in the ACC moving. I don't see that happening. Let's pump the brakes, guys, with the whole let's realign all of college football. Let's leave it where it's at. Texas and Oklahoma obviously shook up everything, but let's chill out for a little while. I mean, I like the Power 5 conferences. Obviously, if Oklahoma and Texas leave, 9 times out of 10, the Big 12 will fold. We don't know that. We don't know if that's going to happen. It might. Most likely it will. But we'll see. It's hard to say. But again, just like with Miami, the Noles again are in the conference with the Clemson Tigers and all that. They're looking to have a bounce back season. I will get to see the Noles live on Thanksgiving weekend as they will be in Gainesville to play the Florida Gators. I'll be there in person to watch them play. So I'm looking forward to the Noles and Gators game this year. I've never been to a Gator game. I'll be at my first Gator game later this year in Gainesville.
I've been to a Gator game either.
Speaking of the Florida Gators, I'll talk about them next. I actually went down and looked at their schedule, and I watched a YouTube clip on a guy that likes to predict seasons. He did make a very good point. This team averaged close to 42 points a game a season ago. There's no way this team is going to average that with the loss of Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts. There's no way this team is going to average that many points again. The team did get strong on the defensive side. That's going to help. But again, they're not going to average 42 points, guys. We're not going to be putting up 42 points per game with those two gone. Again, they will have a cupcake to start their season. They will be here in week 2 against USF. The Bulls will open up their home stand against the Gators on September 11th. And again, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm hoping to be there as a credential member again this season for the USF Bulls. The Gators have had a lot of tickets sold for their football so far this year. Sales are up, which is good for a lot of college teams because, again, there were limited fans or no fans last year for many college teams. So that was different. So, again, we'll have to wait and see what Dan Mullen and company do. The 2 games that I see them losing this season is at Alabama. They play home against Alabama. I don't see them beating them. And they play in Jacksonville against the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't see them beating Georgia either. The two games that are kind of on the iffy side are Missouri and LSU. They play LSU for homecoming before their bye week. I could see that possibly being a loss. And they play Missouri, who's given them fits since the Tigers came into the conference later on in the season. But every one of the other games, I will have to say that Florida is favored, including the FSU game at the end of the season. So, again, we'll have to, barring any injuries, we'll have to wait and see how the Florida Gators do this year. But, again, they're not going to average 42 points. Don't count on that.
No.
This year. Not the same offense. Now, Emory Jones is a running quarterback, so be prepared to see a lot of those trick plays and running plays that Dan Mullen loves to run this year. So we'll have to wait and see how the Gators do. Again, we're not too far away from college football starting up. The next team, guys, is the boys in Orlando. That's the UCF Knights. Again, they're under a new head coach in Gus Malzahn. They have a new AD. They've signed, they're going to have a series with the Maryland Terrapins and Florida Gators. I mentioned that last week. They've signed some deals to play later on in the season. They actually are pretty happy about the Oklahoma-Texas move to the SEC because they think now if they play well enough and if the Big 12 does survive, this could be one of those teams that could move out of the AAC and move into the Big 12. I would not be surprised if this team did make that move. They've been pretty good, say, the last 4, 5, 6 years. This team has been right at the thick of it in the AAC. In fact, they've been in some bowl games. They beat some teams. They've lost to some teams. They, still think they are the national champions as they proclaimed themselves when they went undefeated a couple years ago. So, again, we'll have to wait and see how they're doing very well, too. As far as COVID cases go, as many college, teams are doing, they're doing very well, being optimistic about that. They did lose their running back because of off-the-field issues. Bartavius Thompson is no longer with the team. I believe domestic violence was the reason why. So, again, guys, we don't condone domestic violence on this show, and neither should anyone in public. Don't do that, dude. Seriously, don't do anything like that. If you have anger issues, please get them taken care of, or any mental issues. I saw a commercial this evening, guys. I was eating dinner. I saw a mental health commercial with a lot of YouTubers that I watch on YouTube that were actually in the commercial talking about mental health. If you guys are having any issues with your mental health, please reach out for help, guys. It's there. Go out and get some help. Don't let something like this ruin your future. If you're having a day where you everything is not feeling right, go get some help, because it would help you in the long run and stuff like that. So with UCF, we'll have to wait and see. I could see this team being in the thick of it. I think the team that's going to be right there with them is Cincinnati in the AAC. The Bearcats were very strong a year ago. I could see that happening again this year. So look for UCF and Cincinnati to be the top two teams in the AAC. The team that I close every show with is the USF Bulls. And like I said earlier, if you did miss it, me and Larry Frank will be back on the air on Bullseye starting August 24th. We're a few weeks away from starting up that show again. So that will be interesting to restart the show to talk about all USF athletics. Just like with everything else, the Bulls would be a team that could be on the move to a different conference. But again, they got to start playing better football if that's going to happen. They did open their new practice facility the other day. The video is up on usfbulls.com. Head over there, guys. Those guys were so excited to see that new locker room and their new indoor practice facility. Again, here is how CBS Sports has the AAC finishing out the season. This is how they have right now. They have the Cincinnati Bearcats repeating as conference champions as they did a year ago. Here's how they have them out. The preseason AAC poll is this follows: Cincinnati, UCF, SMU, Houston, Memphis, Tulsa, Tulane, East Carolina, Navy, Temple, and USF. The Bulls only won one game last year, guys, and that was one of the games I attended. That was the game that I attended with no fans in the stands at Raymond James Stadium. So again, for Coach Scott and company, they're going to have to find a way to win more games. I think this team can win more games. I think one of the biggest reasons why they did not win a year ago was because of the quarterback carousel that they had. I think this year, Cade Fortin or 14, however you pronounce his last name, will be that starter that the Bulls have had needed for a while. So again, look for that to be that solidified up. We'll see. They start on the road at NC State. Again, their home opener is against the Florida Gators on September 11th at Raymond James Stadium. So we'll have to see how they do their first two games. Then they play a cupcake in FAMU, which is Florida Atlantic.
Yeah.
It's a school up in northern Florida. Don't be surprised if that's a win for USF, but we'll have to wait and see.
If it's not, then there's a big problem.
Yes, that is correct. Well, guys, that is about going to wrap up the show. Lewis, did you want to say anything before I get off here?
You know, you want to do something with the alligator with Florida. I mean, it's like it's ready to bite somebody. Like, you really do something about that.
That's the logo.
That is a mean alligator.
That's the logo.
Reminds me of my cat. That I had once. Ugh.
Do you want to talk about your show tomorrow?
Yeah, it's called Watch Out for That Alligator, a.k.a. the Enhanced Sports Show. Oh, boy. We got all the bad jokes you can handle. We'll also talk about we'll take on the MLB standings. We do always at the top of the month. We'll also look at what was left of the last minute additions as waivers are being taken care of this week. We'll discuss also NFL preseason football. You know we're going to be talking about the Olympics, and I'll even cover from men's soccer as they won the Gold Cup tournament last Sunday. Yes,
they did.
Yes, and of course with the gold medal game in basketball tomorrow, we'll of course cover that, and tomorrow also the gold medal game in baseball. So we'll cover that as well. Betty Cantley is expected to be joining me, so hopefully she will come aboard. It'll be nice to have her back because she's the one that I think, well, you can say discovered me. I guess I could look at it that way. And it's also a milestone because this was the week that I hosted a national show for the first time. I was subbing for Betty, actually, when we were doing an NBA show, and she couldn't make it. So they asked me to fill in. I'll tell you right now, though, when I first filled in for that, I was a wreck because I didn't know what the controls were and everything. Like, help. Luckily, I had some help with 5 minutes to go before the show started. But believe me, doing your first show, if you don't know the controls, is not that easy. Luckily, I was able to get a hold of it once I got the use of it.
I agree with that, Lewis. I think I remember when I did my first show, I was a nervous wreck. So I was a nervous.
Oh no, trying to start it. That was the thing.
Yeah, correct.
I knew what I was going to say, but I didn't know how to operate. I was like, oh no. And guess what, folks? I'm still here.
Yes, Lewis is still here, guys. He's still doing He's doing a great job. He does a great job, guys.
So don't forget, it's 5 o'clock tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern time. The number to call is 512-543-4662. And yes, all are welcome. Just try to stay on topic when we get to the topic, and don't be a foul mouth because I'll have to bleep you out of here.
There you go. Well, guys, that will about wrap it up. The Sunshine State Sports Jabber is part of NGSC Sports. Guys, remember the website. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. And this show is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website, arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience at your local sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and eat seat delivery. How do you place your order? As I always do, I want to thank the first responders, nurses, and doctors, and our men and women of our armed services. Thank you guys so much for doing what you do. You guys are the true heroes out there. And as always, thank you everyone that stopped in here to listen to me ramble for an hour. And Lewis as well for coming on as he always normally does on Friday. Again, if you guys did want to see this show in its entirety, head over to our YouTube channel, The Sports Center Bradley Walker. This show is on there. The other show is already getting good views already from last night, so I appreciate you guys.
Yikes.
That. But again, guys, I will be back here next week. I'll be on the Walker Report with Lewis and Adam next Thursday. We'll be talking about that. And guys, you know what? Do this. If you're out there, comment below on what we can do for Would You Rather. We want to get some Would You Rather type things up from our fans. So do that, guys. Come up with some Would You Rather so we can go ahead and answer them on the air next week. It will be kind of cool to hear from our fans. But until then, guys, I love all of you. Everyone stay safe. Peace.
Peace out. Okay. I got to get out of here.